Start then. So welcome to the final part of our Adapt and Thrive series of Leeds Trinity Business Network that has seen us through the COVID pandemic from March onwards. Hello, everyone okay? Yes. Okay, sorry, slight disturbance. We thought it would be really nice to finish this series rather than sharing specific technical advice to get us through the pandemic, but to take some time to reflect and for businesses to share how their experience, because we're a supportive community and we thought it would be good to share. So I'm really delighted because we've got Natasha Morris from Opera North. We've got David Smart from Greenhouses, a family bakers over in Lancashire, and Stuart Hill from Access Hospitality, who are going to talk to us about how they coped with COVID, how they adapted their business model, what they learned along the way, and if there's anything in that they're going to take forward into their future strategy. So I'm going to go quiet and I'm going to pass to our speakers. There'll be time for questions at the end. Please do put questions in the chat. Please do put yourselves on mute. I think Christopher might have already put you on mute. At the end, put your hand, use the hand up function if you want to ask a question so that we can make sure you're all heard. Okay, if you want to tweet about this as we go along, it's at LTU BusinessNet #LTBN. So we're going to start with Natasha. So Natasha, over to you.
Hello, thank you, Jess, and thank you for inviting me to come and share a little bit about what we've learned here at Opera North in this quite extraordinary time for everyone, but for sure I felt it in the performing arts industry as we shut down in 1 week. I'm going to share a little with you today on how we've adapted to deliver our work and how we've made that digital in the COVID crisis. I'll share the journey we went on from start to finish, adapting, crisis managing and responding. I'm going to share what we have done, what we've learned, and a little bit on what we're planning for the future. So on Monday, the 16th of March, can you believe it? As with many other cultural organisations, Opera North had to cease all live activity. And as our core purpose is to use music every day to make extraordinary experiences for people of all backgrounds and ages, this was quite something to overcome. For 40 years, we've been doing this by touring opera to theatres across the north of England, including Leeds. Sorry. We also deliver work in schools and in communities. We make music in concert halls, in pubs, in venues of all sizes across the region. We do flash mobs in Trinity Leeds Shopping Centre. We do so many different ways of making music, but inherent in this work is bringing people together, be they musicians, audiences, students, participants, all in the same place to share and make music together. And as the scale of the crisis became clear, our fundamental part of our work was literally impossible to do. So we swung into action to unpick all this activity, to move quickly as we could to deliver our core purpose digitally. Like many other businesses and arts organisations, we have been over the past many years been growing our digital capacity, but overnight we had to focus all of that to be digital. So how quickly could we realign ourselves to continue making and sharing music, teaching and running participatory activity with community groups, and how could we do this all via digital platforms? And a crucial question really is, how do we make it commercially viable? We are a charity, we're publicly funded, but we also had lost all our box office income, which we had to refund. So our initial response to the crisis basically was to stay true to our purpose and to stay connected to our audiences. Our education work shifted online, and we teach musical instruments to 2,000 children a week in Leeds, and we made sure that we worked with the schools to deliver that via Google Classroom. We run singing groups, community singing groups, to keep people connected, especially isolated individuals, and we ran that again on Zoom every week. A lot of this was a bit ad hoc, and it was quite in terms of quality, it was perhaps not as high quality as we wanted it to be. So it became also apparent for us that we needed to sort of up that level, really. And our marketing and communications team began planning content, repurposing and sharing filmed productions, creating written work, creating podcasts, and increasingly ensuring that we're staying connected with our audiences and supporters on a weekly basis. And we were trying to be really transparent about what we were doing, telling everyone very openly what was happening. I think that was really important so that people felt engaged with what we were doing. As an organisation built around a core of 90 musicians, the notion of being able to not make music with live audiences was really actually very difficult. It was very emotionally challenging. And so they really quickly swung into action to make sure that they could create music digitally. They are pretty much all furloughed now, but before they were furloughed, they performed a piece that they were supposed to perform in Huddersfield Town Hall, and each member of the orchestra had to learn to record and film themselves digitally. And we created a film that's now been viewed over 100,000 times and was picked up by media around the world. Thought I'd share this one quickly now, Christopher. It's video number 1.
No problem, Natasha. Is it the An Isolation Odyssey? Is that the correct video?
Exactly the one.
Brilliant. And are you wanting it to start from the beginning, or
from the beginning for 1 minute and 45 seconds, please?
No problem at all.
Otherwise, we'll be here for a long time, but everyone's welcome to watch it later. I should add that this conductor was actually in Switzerland, I think. Thank you. Excuse the judderiness, but it's well worth the full watch. It was an incredible piece of work to put together, and it tested everyone's skills, I guess, as we all learned to become digital creators ourselves. The other project we created was something that it's around engaging audiences with making music. So we were making music, but we also wanted to make sure that people had the chance to make music in their own homes. And so we created a new program which launched just 2 weeks ago called From Couch to Chorus, which indeed is a play on Couch to 5K. And it was another example of an extraordinary experience. We have had over 2,000 people sign up to it from across the world. You know, it's not just Leeds and our local audiences who are coming to our singing sessions, but we were engaging with people everywhere. And we made it free to access because we felt that was appropriate at the time. But we also we made it completely accessible, so you didn't have to have any musical experience. And it was actually a really safe environment to try something new. If you weren't sure you could sing, you could Sorry. people had the safe space of their own home to create a major opera chorus and to completely do it safely and try something new. Or if they love it, they could just do it again, and they were getting connected with that work again. It's a completely new way of reaching and engaging with audiences, and it's taught us new things. I think we will be thinking about how we can continue to offer our education and participatory work in a digital format, as well as the in-person element of it in future. I would say nothing will replace live music making, but it's an alternative and equally valuable means of engagement, and it has new avenues of accessibility and inclusiveness that we're really exciting. I have the second video here, if we could share that one. For this project, we took our chorus off furlough for a few days, and we got them to sing and record opera choruses. The Zoom sessions are run weekly, and everyone has a chance to sing alongside these guys.
I think we've just lost Natasha briefly there. I'll start the video while we wait for Natasha to come back. Are you there, Natasha? Oh, we're okay.
Yeah, I'm there. Keep going. Sorry. Thank you. And I hope my internet behaves for the last few minutes. Sorry, everyone, about that. So it's been interesting that, because we trialed a new way of making money for that. It was pay as you feel. We felt it was important. There was no financial barrier to people taking part. But we did find that people were extraordinarily generous to us because they felt inspired by what we were doing, and they wanted to sort of pay it forward and enable other people to continue to experience that music. So we have it's been a really incredible experience as people reach out and are genuinely philanthropic in the way they're supporting the company in enabling us to create this work. We've learned so much in the past 9 weeks. Some things have worked, others haven't. In the medium term, we clearly need to evolve a new model that combines live performance for socially distanced audiences with digital work. And cutting through this will be the need to understand when it's okay to give content away free, and when, crucially, we can drive new revenue to the company. As we move from the phase of immediate crisis management, our ability to navigate the digital landscape will be critical to our ability to share extraordinary experiences with people from across the north of England and around the world for another 40 years. I'm going to leave you just with our final project, really, for lockdown. It's called, we're going to be launching in November, something called a sound walk for lockdown. I have to admit the name isn't decided yet, but we're planning to mount an interactive digital outdoor sound walk for audiences to experience through headphones as they walk through the city centre of Leeds. It will take place from late November through to December, and we're anticipating a potential audience capacity of 6,500 people. But because it's outdoors and it can be done on an hourly basis with small groups of people, it's fully, it's able to be operated in a socially distanced manner. The walk will guide audiences through the city centre, past key landmarks. It's going to go through Briggate, through the markets, the Corn Exchange, Leeds Bridge, Victoria Leeds. And everyone will be wearing headphones that interact with location beacons that trigger changes in the soundscape. The music is being composed specially. We've commissioned an artist called Abel Selico to create this composition written for the city of Leeds. He's an award-winning composer. The music will be recorded by our orchestra and chorus, and it will be accessible to everyone to take part in and ensure culture is at the heart of the city as we build back better. So my key takeaways really is that what we have learned: stay loyal to your audiences and they'll support you. Be really transparent in how you communicate about your challenges, but also the opportunities. People really do want to help people, businesses, organisations they love. Think about how this is an opportunity to actually do something better and build back better. Investing in digital is so vital. It can be big or small, but really thinking about how it's user-friendly, engages with audiences and drives financial revenue to your organisation. And this, it doesn't have to be, super glamorous. Some of what we do is obviously, takes quite a lot of investment, but there's a lot you can do in very small ways to make it easier. And ultimately, whatever you do, stay true to your core purpose and vision. That's a little bit about Opera North and what we're doing at the moment. I guess as an element of that, we need to watch this space to see what on earth we can do over the next 12 months. I look forward to chatting with you all a bit later. So thank you very much, Jess, and I'll hand back to you.
Thank you so much, Natasha. It's really inspiring. Thank you. I'm going to move swiftly on to David Smart, who's in his very luxurious boardroom, and he's going to be presenting to us now about greenhouses. Over to you, David.
Thank you very much. Apologies for my accent. I am a Boltoner, born and bred. Pardon the pun. Let me just share this screen, and so you can't see me, and that's a bit of a benefit. There we go. F5. There we go. Yes, right. Well, first of all, thank you very much for letting me come and witter on about Greenhouse's Craft Bakeries, a family bakery. Bolton, yeah, the right side of the Pennines, of course. Where Bolton is quite an industrial town. We're obviously near Wigan and near Liverpool, so it's very industrial. So we make a lot of savouries and soups and sandwiches and things like that. Obviously home to the famous Peter Kay, but also obviously Warburton's and Unilever. So we've got a proud heritage of industry. The young gentleman on the bottom of the picture is my dad. Sadly passed away in 2003, but he founded the business from the Mecca organisation. He bought it in 1959, and that's the rest is a little bit history. We've got a circa turnover about 26 mil. The ethos of the business is, again, pardon the pun, many fingers in many pies. Retail, wholesale, then we have advanced sales, and we do national retailers. National retailers including Tesco, Morrison's, Costa, Asda, Merlin Entertainments, but to name a few. We've got about 850 full and part-timers, and we operate out of 60 out of our own retail outlets. And that is the core of the business, because we're actually about 60%, our retail business is about 60% of our total turnover, of which 60% of that 60% is pies and pasties. We have what will be quintessential traditional bakeries, shops. Forgive me, very much unlike Greg's, that just does pasties and slices and sausage rolls, or they would like to call them that. But we do everything from breads, sourdough breads, cakes, pastries, pâtissière, soups, even the humble bacon sandwich. Most of our trade is obviously between 7 and 2 in the afternoon, and then it winds down, and then we do take-home treats and take-home meals. After that, that's our new design of a shop in Bromley Cross, which is a satellite of Bolton, which is big open door, nothing stopping you going in. The shop window has disappeared, and you can literally, the shop window is now the counter, obviously, as and when you walk in. The other 40% is our what we call our wholesale. We've got what we call fleet vans, which is like that service the fish and chip shops, cafes, restaurants, clubs, pubs, cafes, all that kind of stuff, with on 3.5 tonners. And then we've also got the 18 tonners that take the mass pies, the 18 pallets of pies. Then we've got the 7.5 tonners there that take. We do actually cover all of the UK, from literally John O'Groats to Land's End, mainly on the 18 tonners. We do get food service people to come in because one of our main clients is Morrison's, and obviously they're all over the country, so we have to tackle that distribution network as well. But the smaller 3.5 tons that you can see there, there are retail vans predominantly with mixed chill and ambient boxes operated from the side of the vehicle. But then literally on the March the 26th, and it's a memorable day because it's my flaming birthday of all things, we lost 40% of that turnover, and we also lost 20 of our retail units, which, you know, was like a thunderbolt from the sky. Those are some of the companies that we do deal with that we literally lost overnight. So the company went into this very room, the directors, and then we had to start cutting our cloth accordingly. Now, you can either roll over and play dead, or you can fight to survive and pull yourselves up, you know, by your britches and get on with it. Peter Drucker said, "Innovate or die," which was really good, and which is quite, again, it's part of us. So we are local, and so we're a bit nimble of foot, even though we're a big company in the area, and we can do things quickly. I mean, from me, the MD, down to the person on the shop floor is literally, I don't know, 200 yards away. So the communication is very, very quick. I've been here now, 45 years, and I'm still a new boy. So we've got a lot of loyal, supportive people here. And the main thing is we don't play dead. A lot of the national companies, like, for example, Greggs, Costa Coffee, Subway, Pound Bakery, all these people, literally shut the shop overnight. Granted, it's a lot bigger company, but I couldn't look at my colleagues' faces and say, "I'm sorry, you're going home now," because we might employ 850 people, but that's 850 people's families, you know, and if they've just got a partner and a couple of kids, that's an awful lot of people. Yes, we did furlough about 150 or so, but we had to innovate and keep money coming in. The shops, the 41 or so shops that we kept, we literally had to turn them around very, very quickly. The picture on our left is that's inside one of our shops, and we had to literally make it COVID safe basically overnight. Depending on the size of the shop, we've either got 1 or 2 people, and you will stand in that square, and everybody else stood outside. And believe it or not, all our customers really rallied towards that. I think predominantly because everybody else were closed, and they had to come to us, which is another benefit, because we've picked up an awful lot of business by not closing. but it became like a community outing to go and get a pie, where the same people would go at the same time and have a chat outside the shop. It's like community spirit, like back to the war years, as it were. So the retail shops had a new layout. The van in the middle, that's our butty van, that's Bacon Butty Van. We've got 4 of those. And then literally, again, overnight, we turned them into community parking shops where we'd go into the old people's homes, we'd go into the communities, we'd go into housing estates, we'd go everywhere where we could sell a pie, pasty cake, sandwich, sausage roll, soup, whatever we could sell, we would sell. And then we had the social distancing barriers on that as well. And again, they were really well received. And then on top of that, we turned our office into a telesales operation where anything over 30 quid, we would deliver to your home. Again, obviously within our own community. Well, we've got vans going out to the shops anyway, so why not get them to go to the people's home and socially distance deliver, knock on the door, put on the floor, stand back, wait until they come, and then obviously then they take the products into the shops, into the home. And again, that was really well taken on board. The community parking shop now is somewhat died away because a lot of people are going back to work. But that van now, believe it or not, is a wedding van, because people, social distance weddings, they don't want a big buffet and one thing and another. But we've got 2 this week and next week where one of those vans full of hot pies is going to a wedding. So the people can actually go and help themselves to hot pie, hot pasty as part of the buffet for the wedding. I thought, why not? It sells a pie, doesn't it? But home delivery is very still buoyant. Literally within a week, it always helps to have a computer programmer as a good friend of yours. We changed our website overnight. Well, within a week, should I say, and it became a virtual shop where we've got DHL as a delivery option. And literally, as soon as you go onto our website, you get met with that page. Do you want to come to us, or shall we come to you? And from that takes on a different product range. And then you can either click, buy, and then go and shop to pick it up, or we will come and bring it to you. If you're in our area, we'll come and bring it to you. If you are out of our area, DHL will deliver. And that literally is Land's End to John O'Groats. However, it's amazing. It's predominantly expats from Bolton and our areas that have suddenly realised in Bournemouth you can get a greenhouse's pie and pasty. And Bournemouth and Lincoln, other than Bolton, of course, are the key towns where all the Bolton expats went to. We also got onto Uber Eats. I didn't believe how, because I am of a certain age, how people would pay extra money to go and get a pie or whatever from one of our shops instead of getting off your backside and go and getting it. This brings in just over 10 grand a week, and it doesn't cost us a penny. And Uber Eats actually brought all the tablets and software in. They want a 20% kickback, but we charge 20% extra. And then the people that's buying it pay for the delivery on top of that. My next door neighbour, God bless him, he owns In The Style, which is a fast fashion, bit like Boohoo. And he openly admits to me he Uber Eats a white sliced loaf on a Sunday morning because he hasn't got any toast, and he will pay a white slice for a white sliced loaf just to get there, which believe you me is completely foreign to me. But they do it, and people don't actually see the charge of it actually being delivered to them. So we've got a new website. We've got now a medium to sell whatever we want to do. Flour, of all things, people couldn't buy flour because all of a sudden everybody wanted to make bread, which is fine, but they couldn't get any flour. Well, I've got about 300 tons of the dumb stuff, and so come and help yourself. we've actually got, in the mid, we were selling 2.5 tons of flour a day. That's in kilo bags. That's 2,500 bags. So if you can sell them white flour, you can sell them brown flour, you can sell them pie flour, you can sell them self-raising flour, you can sell them cake mixes because they don't know how to make cake. Then if they want flour, they might want yeast. And then if they want yeast, they might want a plastic scraper. If they want a plastic scraper, they might want a banneton. If they want a banneton, they might want a dough cloth. And so it goes on. So we've started the actual baking pantry side. And then we do pre-packed lunches. And we do an awful lot of gingerbreads here. I make gingerbreads at 4,000 an hour. And if you go into any Costco that you did go into, they have like a little gingerbread man with 2 holes at the bottom, so you can put your fingers through it and walk around the Costa coffee. They're my gingerbreads, and all the gingerbreads and some of the cake in Costa is all mine. So if you're making gingerbread, why not sell them 200 grams of it in the shops or send it to them so they can make their own gingerbreads? So again, that's an extra sale. And also greenhouses by post, which I alluded to prior with DHL. That's an average daily shipment by DHL. The website pre-COVID on the old website was doing about £2,000 a month. We're now doing £2,000 a week just on postage price, as it were, through the post. So obviously we're going to keep that because it's been a really good part of the business to land onto. So lots of new markets, and I've often been accused of I will sell. And if a person wants a brass bolt covered in chocolate, as long as they want a lot of them, I'll sell it to them, as long as that's what they want. And it's obviously a decent quality brass. So going on further from that, what have we learned? Were we as good as we thought we were? Obviously not. Complacency does set in, and you start to believe your own press. So it got a bit same old. So we went back to basics. What are we here for? We're here to sell good bread, good pies, good pasties, good soups, good sandwiches, but honest to goodness. At the end of the day, we're only selling flour and water and a lot of knowledge. Not everybody can make true sourdough bread, so people will pay for that if they want a good one. So there's nothing wrong with specialising. There's nothing wrong with challenging and going into the higher markets. But we are bakers, born and bred. We are bakers, so that's what we intend to do. And back to basics, adaptability. Where we're going to get that next pound from? It's a bit like Del Boy in the market. You know, you can't just wait for the money to come to you. You have to go for the money and go for the money and go and get it and be a little bit adventurous and where you're going to sell it to. I mean, you know, my father, God bless him, wouldn't have sold yeast. He wouldn't have sold prepackaged gingerbread mix. He didn't even want to sell a pack of crisps and a bottle of pop. But if customers are coming in for that, then why not sell them? Turnover versus margin. Obviously, margin is king, profit's king. Go for the margin all the time, forget about the turnover. The old Pareto analysis, the old 80-20 rule. Obviously, when I was at management college, yeah, okay, that's what you learn. Boy, is it true. You know, 20% of your profit comes from, 80% of your profit comes from 20% of your lines. It really does. 80% of your profit comes from 20% of your lines. That means, you know, you're making a lot of rubbish. You're making a lot of inefficient products just to get turnover instead of becoming more efficient. So, boy, have we done some culling and getting rid of the periphery and concentrating on what we do best, make more of what we know we're good at, and selling that through. And when you start to do that, you find out you've been carrying labour. We were top heavy because we thought we had to make all these products. We obviously didn't. So, you know, we've obviously furloughed quite a few, and thankfully through natural wastage, a lot of people have gone anyway. And yes, we are making a few redundant, but not yet, because the silly season, what we call the silly season, is from the end of August to the beginning of January, where it goes absolutely loopy. We might need to keep those people on, so we're holding them on furlough for the time being. And basically, efficiency in the shops. We didn't need all the people in the shops. We didn't need all the people in production. We didn't need all the people in office that we thought we needed. So we started to refocus on the business and start to look at why we're here and what we're doing. And we're actually doing that on a weekly basis, because all the people that's coming back, because we've got quite a few people coming back now, they want to take the company back to how it was. And well, we're not there now. We're here. We're 15, 16 weeks through the COVID, and the business has changed dramatically and fundamentally. And so it's like a retraining job that we've got to do on them as well. But hey ho, they will learn. So yeah, I think that's what, you know, it's a good, honest learning experience that we've gone through. We've got through it. We've bettered ourselves, and it has been rather a very good learning experience, and given us the opportunity to get the business back on stream again. And that's a picture of me. Yeah, there you go. So that's about it, really. Finish slideshow.
Thank you.
Okay, hang on a minute. I've got to get rid of that? How do I share it now?
That's it, David. Thank you so much. That was so insightful.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying the honesty of people's accounts here, and people responding to customer needs so quickly. It's really inspiring. You've also made me very hungry, and I really want some cake. So I'll need to find out where I can go in Leeds to buy your stuff. Okay.
www.greenelshes.com. We're all there.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, so last but not least, we've got Stuart Hill from Access Hospitality. Much smaller business, but equally impressive in how quickly he's adapted and so on. So over to you, Stuart.
Thank you. And first, I was just thinking maybe we could send our addresses in advance next time and maybe get a cake to be eating whilst hearing about the business. But yeah, so certainly we're a much smaller business. Access Hospitality are a non-profit CIC that enable adults with learning disabilities to gain fulfilling paid employment. And there is just me and one other part-time member of staff. So what I'll do is I'll tell you a bit about myself and Access Hospitality, where we were prior to COVID, the impact or effect of COVID on the business, and how we've adapted and where we're at now. What I'll do at the end then is I'll lay over my story of lockdown and my experiences over that. So my background's in teaching and special educational needs, but 5 years ago I set up a rugby team for adults with both learning and physical disabilities. And it was through that one of my teammates, Sam, wanted to get more involved in the club and expressed an interest of working behind the club bar. And he asked me if I could help him with this, and I didn't know the answer because he's got learning disabilities and expressive language difficulties. So we went about exploring solutions to that problem. And before long, we found something that worked. Sam worked, and it was life affirming for him. And when we looked into that deeper, Sam was representative of a huge untapped talent pool. So there's only 5.8% of adults with learning disabilities employed in England, of around 1 million adults with learning disabilities, 65% of which have expressed an interest in paid work. So we started to look at how we could maybe take that concept and apply it wider. So how did we do it? Well, we did it through training and new assistive technology that we developed. And I don't want to show you a video, so I'll just explain basically what the technology does. We piggyback on order and pay technology, and we convert the order to iconography. So symbols, shapes and emojis that relate to visual cues in the environment. This standardizes the process and makes it repetitive, which means our graduates and our staff can fulfill orders in a really efficient and effective way. And for me, this has been 2-3 years in the making. And just prior to COVID, 2 weeks prior to COVID, we just instructed the solicitors to draw up contracts for paid employment for 5 out of the 6 of our first training cohort. We'd done that through partnerships with local cafes, local bars, events venues, and we'd even agreed an extended, fully funded trial across Leeds in Bupa care homes. So we'd got to a point where the model was starting to fit together. The model was starting to work. Calderdale local authority had put a business case together to pay for the next training cohort to come through. So each of our streams was coming together, and then COVID hit and lockdown, and that kind of threw us into a bit of a spiral initially. But what did we do to react? So we recognised the impacts of COVID wasn't obviously going to be short term, and we work in 2 of the hardest hit sectors. So we work in hospitality and we work in the care sector. And in speaking to our partners, they were telling us in hospitality that they were expecting a period of recovery, and then they were expecting a surge in demand. So realistically, it was going to be 12 months before they could re-engage in any meaningful way. And care homes, they're not going to be able to, on safeguarding grounds, engage with external non-essential suppliers for the same period of time, if not longer. So it was very clear that our partnership model wasn't going to work for the next 6-12 months. And equally, our training providers, because we work with daycare providers, they were all closed and are still closed. So we didn't know when our training income could come back online either. So what we did as a response is we decided to just build a direct delivery model. So rather than relying on partners for training and for the creation of the end roles, we were going to deliver pop-up coffee shops and bars. And we also hoped that would help local venues with meeting extra capacity and with meeting the COVID guidelines. So we thought it might be a good time to embed ourselves with local partners, but not have to work directly with them, just turn up and go at the end of the day. But there was a much bigger picture to this. What we have built as a model will be a social franchise, so that adults with learning disabilities can become owners in the end business. So absolutely smashing the glass ceiling of potentially what people think can be achieved. And equally, the co-owners in that business, we want to support other areas and other beneficiaries within our communities. So we're looking to support somebody that feels they are furthest from the employment market. That might be somebody who's experienced rough sleeping. It might be somebody who's previously had a conviction, somebody who's long-term unemployed, ex-military, whatever it might be. We've built a model that we think can offer wider opportunities than just to adults with learning disabilities. So that's the overview of really quickly what we do, where we were at, how we were knocked down, and then the point that we're at now. But my story behind that wasn't as easy as that. Personally, I found it really difficult. So for the first 3 weeks, I kind of spent a lot of time in the garden, and I was just trying to help our family adapt and spend time with people around me. During that time, I felt a bit lost, and I didn't feel I could focus on work, and I didn't know where to focus. But actually, giving myself a task to do and removing myself from just sitting in front of a screen and looking blank turned out to be really useful. after that period of time, I started looking at ways to try and maximise the government support and initiatives that were available. And I found myself wrestling with a real grey area, like ethical uncertainty. Can I furlough myself as an employee and carry on working in certain roles as a non-profit director? I started thinking a little bit negatively. Am I best just stopping and furloughing myself and the other member of staff, and then seeing if we can pick it up at a later date? And that was engaging all my energy, just wrestling with how can I use that, what's out there, researching that, and how can I use that to just make sure we're okay afterwards. And it wasn't until I spoke to an advisor at a really critical point, told him how I was feeling, told him what I was thinking about, and he just said, you very, very rarely get an opportunity when you're running a business to take time, to take space, to take a step back and to do some deep thinking. If you've got an opportunity to do that, because our money wasn't going to run out, in the next 6 months, so we didn't have a critical need to furlough. It was more about what the best option was, and that advice to me just cut through everything. And after that phone call, instead of thinking really negatively about how I can use resources to do very little, or to pause, or just to protect what we've got, I was able to relax, take some time, take some headspace, and think about how can we do more. Let's go back to our initial vision and values for the company. Let's think about what the challenges are, and let's start thinking of potential solutions. And that's when we started thinking about, well, can we partner with other charities who work with other people that are suffering from social isolation as a result of COVID? How can we be stronger if we partner with others in the community? Actually, this idea of somebody not just being an employee but being able to own their own business really started to get momentum, and it matched our mission. So to summarize that really quickly, I took some time out. I was in a bit of a mess. Then I got some critical advice, and I was able to take some space, take some time, and really think about the business. And that will be my key bit of advice. If possible, give yourself space and time. If that means doing a different task for a while, if that means creating a task for yourself to force yourself to get out of that usual routine. If you know that certain aspects of your business can't work, we've put them in what we call the greenhouse. So rather than talking negatively and saying we're parking it, or we're talking in very fixed terms, we're saying that we will allow 20% of our time to nurture those strands of our business that can't happen at the moment, but that in 12 months might come out, or can come out stronger, if we continue just to give them that little bit of care over the next 12 months, continue to maintain the relationships, continue to talk to the people involved. And then the third and final probably take home for me is rely on that support network around you, whether it be your advisors, whether it be peers, family, and not just about the business elements, not just about the particular problem, but about how you're feeling towards that situation or towards that problem. Okay, I think that's me.
Thank you so much, Stuart. Again, a really honest and personal account of your experience of COVID. There's a lot of people who manage their own business, very small and very new business, so I'm sure they'll really relate to you there. So thanks again. Okay, so we have some good time for questions for Natasha, David and Stuart. And so does anyone have anything to add or ask our speakers today? Everyone's gone quiet. So Christopher's asked, Natasha, how can we get involved in the Opera North walking tours and find out more?
Honestly, the best thing would be to join our mailing list. We've got some really cool digital content going out every other week. It's really engaging, and as soon as there's more, it will go in there to our core audiences. It'll be explained how to book, and that is via our website. I'll drop the link in the chat.
Thank you. I was just really inspired by all of those talks, and I think the common thread there is staying true to your customers, staying true to yourselves. Natasha, you were talking about being transparent and being transparent about the changes. And then it was really nice, Stuart, to hear your personal account. So thank you for that. David, are you still delivering to stores in Leeds?
Yeah, we actually go past Leeds every day. There's a lovely business in, is it Wetherby, Stockwell Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area, and we deliver there every day. Yeah.
Oh, great! They do a good Santa run there, I think. Another question for you, David. Although you may release some cost from stopping the ancillary services, do you think you've lost value?
No, because our value is in our customer service and also the quality of the product. We don't, forgive me, we don't sell cheap. We really don't sell cheap. For example, retail price, our large potato and meat pie, which is very localized area, a product for this area, is £2.50, and that's our biggest product, which we make about 25 to 30,000 a day, because that's what our customers want. But it's a good, wholesome product, and we get the value for it.
Thank you. And how do you speakers feel society might change? Question from Bernadette. From what you've encountered, who wants to answer that?
Can you just repeat the question, please?
How do you think society is going to change as a result of this?
Society changes anyway, so yes, it will change. Retail, it will change. I mean, from my grandmother to my mother to my wife, forgive the connotation of ladies doing the shopping, but to my daughter, my grandmother would go out and shop and go for the cheapest. My mother would go to the supermarket. My wife dabbles in having home delivery, and my daughter wouldn't even think about going to the supermarket. And she even Uber Eats a Costa coffee. That is change.
Yeah, I see your point. Natasha, did you want to answer that?
Well, I live very hopefully that there will be a chance for us to build back better. That's definitely been a conversation I've been hearing, and it's interesting as we open up to see how things are shifting and where it is building back better. But also I think that it's fraught with challenges. In the cultural sector, because we are very much about making live music and making live performance, and there is such value in how live works, it's very difficult for us to, I mean, it's basically a real big challenge as to whether we can't replace that with just digital offerings. So I have to admit, it's a bit of a watch this space. We're trying to work through it and work out when it is online, whether it's really good quality. You know, the National Theatre did some incredible live streams of their performances, and Opera North has done the same. Many organisations have like that. But can you actually do that in a commercially viable way? It's extremely expensive, and it also takes away the joy of sharing performance live. So it will change, but I hope it will blend into a much more blended future rather than a back to old ways. And I don't think it will, I hope we don't lose all that live interaction and social interaction that we get through it as well.
No, I hope not. I'm worried about the arts and culture sector post-COVID, but I hope that, as you say, people keep the organisations they love safe, don't they? They will buy into that. Stuart.
If I could just jump in on that one. Do you know, I think there will be a limited period of time, for maybe 6 months, you know, to really kind of try and, you know, make an impact with this, because unfortunately people's lives will get busy again and things will get back to normal, and we need to capitalize on that. But for us, certainly, the vast majority of society now has experienced some form of social isolation and the difficulties that can bring, and that might just allow people and communities to relate to different sections of the community that feel more entrenched in that, not because of you know, a global pandemic, but because of you know, societal lack of inclusion and the way societies are structured. So I'm hoping we can kind of reinforce that message and build on that message to say that actually we can create these opportunities, and this is what we're hoping to reduce. And now you know a little bit maybe of how that feels. Hopefully you will help us to do that. That's certainly from my point of view what we're trying to do.
Yes, thank you. I'm so glad we've run this session, because it's been so inspiring to see how quickly you've worked to adapt, and that you've created something new. Like, all of you have created something new out of this, and created new markets and new interest. I'm definitely going to try the couch to chorus. Definitely going to order some cake. and great, Stuart, that you've got, you know, entrepreneurs that you're nurturing, and co-owners of businesses, which wasn't your original business model at all.
No.
And broadened the people that you're working with as well. Great. Any other ending points or questions for the speakers? Great. Well, just to finish off then, thank you so much again to the speakers. Virtual round of applause for you and for your time. This is recorded, so we'll share this, so please share this with your networks. Don't forget that we have our virtual groups, so we have LinkedIn, Leeds Trinity Business Network group, and the Facebook group to keep in touch with. Our next event is the 23rd of September, and that's going to be part of the Leeds Digital Festival once again. We're going to have something cutting edge, to be confirmed. And just to let you know that we are entering the Leeds Digital Festival Awards for Facilitator of the Year. So it would be amazing if you could help us by voting for us. So we're going to put details of that in the follow-up to this, and we'll also send some separate comms out. But, you know, we've always kept digital right at the front. It's what people often ask for, and we've been supporting the Digital Festival for the last few years. So if people don't mind sharing a vote our way, we'd be very grateful. So I think that's everything for now. We'll follow up on LinkedIn, on Twitter with you all. Hope some people get a summer holiday of some sort. Hope no one's booked a trip to Spain. Thanks again for your time, David, Natasha and Stuart.
Absolute pleasure, love.
Thanks to everybody.